Hello there, and a very good evening to you all. Thank you very much for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. Our hope is that you had yourselves a very productive Tuesday and a great start to your week. Now here's a sneak peek into our edition. The government of Rwanda has stated that the approval of the bill to send asylum seekers to Rwanda align with their preparedness to receive them. A delegation from South Sudan's transitional parliament has noted that a lot can be learned from Rwanda's parliament. And on the international scale, Africa's entertainment industry is another stage where global competition between China and the US is playing out, and African artists see it as an opportunity. We are very glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and my name is Martina Avera. Let us start off our bulletin by informing you that President Paul Kagame and President Emmanuel Macron held a productive call this Tuesday morning. They discussed a fruitful bilateral cooperation and areas of future collaboration. The heads of state also extensively discussed regional matters, among them Eastern DRC. They highlighted the need for a comprehensive political solution, and they noted the processes in place to help achieve a solution, including the Rwanda process and the EAC's Nairobi process. Now, the government of Rwanda has stated that the approval of the bill to send asylum seekers to Rwanda aligns with their preparedness to receive them as part of the UK-Rwanda Migration and Economic Development Partnership. Adam Squizera has more on this report.
On April 14th, 2022, Rwanda and the UK signed the Migration and Economic Development Partnership, which included provisions for Rwanda to receive immigrants who had been residing in the UK illegally. However, new treaties were signed in Kigali due to interference from the UK's High Court. The UK's Upper House of Parliament on Tuesday, April 23rd, approved a government bill to send asylum seekers to Rwanda, a development that is a key to implementation of the UK-Rwanda immigration deal, which is expected to get operational in a matter of weeks. The deputy spokesperson of the government of Rwanda, Ale Mukurarinda, affirms that this represents a positive step forward in the implementation of the treaties. Rwanda is very happy for this step taken because it literally shows the way of solving this problem of immigrants and asylum seekers. And as you know, that in the last 30 years, Rwanda has tried to fix and preserve the safety of Rwandans and others. For now, this approval denounced the first one, then noted that Rwanda is not safe. Andrew Sharp, a member of the UK Parliament, clarifies that this bill serves to reaffirm Rwanda as a safe country capable to host these asylum seekers.
Rwanda has a strong history of providing protection to those that need it and currently hosts over 135,000 refugees and asylum seekers who have found safety and sanctuary there. There are binding provisions in the treaty which place obligations on the government of Rwanda to provide for those relocated under the partnership. And my lords, this is long overdue, but I would also like to put on record my thanks to the officials in the government of Rwanda for all their efforts in delivering this partnership.
Adam Predford, a British entrepreneur residing in Rwanda, affirms this by emphasizing that Rwanda's safety is undoubtable.
Secondly, I then took the decision to live here, and I have done for the past 2 years, and I haven't ever had a single worry, concern, or incident of any kind. I think for anybody to say that Rwanda is not safe is rubbish, and you can't criticise this place unless you've been here.
The UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak clarified that the preparation for deporting asylum seekers who entered the country illegally have progressed significantly. It is now planned that they will be sent to Rwanda within the next 10 to 12 weeks.
And we have 500 highly trained individuals ready to escort illegal migrants all the way to Rwanda, with 300 more trained in the coming weeks. This is one of the most complex operational endeavours the Home Office has carried out. But we are ready, plans are in place, and these flights will go come what may. No foreign court will stop us from getting flights off. Rwanda is ready too, and I'd like to thank the government of Rwanda for their work in strengthening their asylum system, passing legislation, and setting up a new appeals tribunal. The next few weeks will be about action.
On March 19, 2023, a project worth 60 billion Rwandan francs was launched to construct approximately 1,500 houses on a 12-hectare area designated for the settlement of asylum seekers from the UK as well as the local Rwandan community members. The deputy spokesperson of the government of Rwanda, Ale Mukurarinda, emphasized that the significant progress has been made in the preparation to host these asylum seekers.
Kuva aho amasezerano ashyiraho umukono u Rwanda rwatangiye kwitegura.
Since the signing of these treaties, Rwanda started to get prepared. I affirm that Rwanda is well prepared. As part of the treaties, there were designated areas where they will be living provisionally, as well as we are preparing a place where some of those asylum seekers will live here for good, together with the local community as part of these treaties. Since 2018, Rwanda positions itself as a country open to asylum seekers and migrants from around the world. In 2019, Rwanda signed a cooperation agreement with the UNHCR aimed at providing care for refugees and migrants from Libya. Currently, Rwanda is a home to more than 135,000 refugees, including those from neighboring countries and other regions worldwide. This approach serves as a solution to plight of asylum seekers and migrants who risk their lives crossing oceans and seas. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for that report. A delegation from South Sudan's transitional parliament has noted that a lot can be learned from Rwanda's parliament so as to improve the functioning of its own parliament back at home. Members of the delegation here in Rwanda have held discussions with Rwandan counterparts. We have more on this report.
The parliamentarians from South Sudan are part of the country's Finance and Economic Planning Committee in South Sudan's transitional parliament and are in Rwanda to learn how the country's national budget is managed. They commended the way the national budget is prepared, especially how gender equality is taken into account. They also asked us how we monitor the way the budget is utilized and what is done when resolutions made by the parliament are not properly implemented. We explained that when that happens, we summon the minister concerned for explanations. After the discussions with Rwandan parliamentarians, part of the Public Accounts Committee and the Committee on National Budget and Patrimony, the delegation from South Sudan expressed how impressed they were by the way both standing committees function.
The committees on budgets and the Committee of Public Accounts that we have interacted today, we have a lot of similarities compared to what we got in Kenya, because Kenya's committees have been split to too many committees, whereas here the role of budget committee and our budget committees is very, very similar. Public accounts is the same in all the three countries, I think. Yeah. So we are grateful so far.
It was also noted that Rwanda and South Sudan both have a history of conflict and that the former can greatly assist the latter to also experience a sort of transformation that is admired globally. The delegation also met with top officials in the Chamber of Deputies, having arrived in the country on Monday and supposed to continue with their study tour until Friday in other institutions that deal with the national budget before leaving on Saturday.
During the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi here in Rwanda, Mohamud Nurdin Tabani of Uganda, who had a fishing business operating on Lake Victoria, decided to halt all activities and first pull out bodies that have floated into the lake and give them a decent burial. He says he never thought anyone would ever thank him for that, but that is what happened. We have more on this report.
Lake Victoria is Africa's largest lake by area, the world's largest tropical lake, and the world's second largest freshwater lake by surface area. So to say that the task Mohamud Nurdin Tabani gave himself and his fishermen to retrieve the bodies of the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi that had been washed into the lake by the Nyabarongo River was difficult would be an understatement. But he committed himself to it nevertheless, stopping all regular fishing activities and promising to pay as much as $20 of that time, about $40 in today's money, or close to 52,000 Rwandan francs per body retrieved.
To retrieve a person who has died somewhere and give him a burial, it is a great thing. In every religion I have studied, it's not one religion I'm talking about, every religion I've talked about. If you give somebody a burial, it is a big thing. This came with somebody's prayers, it's not our intelligence, honestly. The chance we got, I just don't know how it came about, because
A few months after what used to be the Rwanda Patriotic Army halted the genocide against the Tutsi and liberated Rwanda, Mohamud got a visit he did not expect.
a delegation came from Rwanda after some months after the genocide. They went to the graveyard on the day, and I was here. This place exactly here. So they knew I was here, so they came to see me. So they came to give me a message that we have come from Rwanda, and we have decided to take all the victims who are buried here, exhume them and take them back to Rwanda. So I asked him, why? He said, but no, there is nobody to look after here. I said, but we are here. Why don't you give us a chance? They said, no, you will not be able to do it. I said, please, we are here, we are asking you, and they are buried here. They are lying peacefully, don't disturb them.
The Ugandan businessman of Indian origin was not ignorant of what had been happening in Rwanda before the country was liberated, or the efforts of those who sacrificed everything to make it possible.
Major General Rwejema, my personal friend, he was staying in Kalolo. We were just about 2 houses apart. So in the evening he used to come, we used to sit, and I don't know how he trusted me. So he started telling me the whole history and everything about how they are going to sort of fight here because of this problem, challenge and everything. So we became so close, and his wife also I knew her very well. So that's the friendship we started from. But I used to know everything, how the fight went. You see, like Major Kaka, Major Binyenyezi, how they were killed, what happened, I know the whole history.
In the end, Mohamud Nurdin Tabani ended up helping to give a decent burial to more than 10,000 victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi at the Lambu, Kansensero and Ngolo genocide memorial sites, all of which he maintains to this day. In October last year, he and 6 others were awarded the Umurinzi W'igihango Medal, which was later presented to him by Rwanda's High Commissioner to Uganda.
Now, what I would tell to the First Lady, I don't know how she decided, how she thought that I deserve it. That's the question. Because I have not had a chance of meeting her. I was looking forward to, but President Kagame, I met him one time when I was for the memorial. I just met him for a few minutes, and that's how it was the end of it. So I don't know how she came to know, how she appreciated it, and how she decided to honor.
Mohamud is also very happy about the way Rwanda has been developing over the last 30 years.
Look at the country and how it has progressed. So somebody has got 2 eyes, you can see with 1 eye the progress, the unity, the achievements, the education, the agriculture, the other kind of development. I mean, you can't compare it. The strictness on the roads, the traffics, the construction which is going on, the spacing, the unity there which has been created now, it is excellent. It's the example which our children is going to learn from.
He is, however, not happy about the way some people around the world have continued to negate and incredibly even deny that the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi ever took place.
Those who are going to say no, they will say no. But the reality is on the ground. Those who suffered and those who went through those challenges, they know it what they went through. Okay, there could be 1 or 2 mistakes here and there, but it doesn't mean that everything was not right. It happened. And people died and they suffered. Like the historical testimony today, you can see from that one. I don't think the lady, she had made it up. This is a true story. So these are the facts. So what we should be doing, if there's a wrong who doesn't understand, we should come ourselves together, convince that this is the reality, let them find out for themselves and get the facts.
Mohamud Nurdin Tabani was born in Uganda in 1945 and in 2018, during commemoration events, donated 50 bicycles to genocide survivors at Rukumberi in Goma district of Rwanda's eastern province.
Despite the atrocities that occurred within churches during the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994, some survivors who had initially distanced themselves from various religions' dominations acknowledge the role that different religions played in helping in healing, resilience, and cope with trauma. Consequently, some have chosen to return to churches. Olive Nete has more.
April 1994, when the genocide against the Tutsi publicly began, many sought refuge in various churches, believing them to be sanctuaries where they would be safe from the violence ravaging the country. They placed their trust in religious leaders, hoping for protection amidst what was happening. However, their hopes were shattered when the genocide perpetrators showed no hesitation in targeting and killing people within the supposed safety of these sacred spaces. Shockingly, some religious leaders were complicit in these atrocities. Wayezu Claire, who was 7 years old during the genocide, says that when it ended, she doubted the existence of God because of what she saw.
After
the genocide, my life wasn't a good one. It was filled with despair, sadness, and a loss of hope. I often questioned the existence of God, wondering where He was during our suffering and what He was doing while we were being killed. I had many unanswered questions rolling within me. The atrocities committed within churches during the genocide shattered the trust and confidence that people had in religious leaders and institutions. Consequently, the spiritual and healing teachings offered by the church in the aftermath of the genocide were met with difficulty in comprehension among the population.
Jenoside imaze guhagarara mu kwezi kwa 9 nibwo nasubiye Butare.
In September 1994, after the genocide was stopped, I returned to Butare in cathedral to preach the gospel. Despite people attending as usual, there was a palpable lack of life. I could sense it. After the mass, I exited the church. I encountered a man standing by the door, murmuring to himself, "Now we are leaving the mass." He expressed his discontent, remarking that the mass remained unchanged, still conducted as they had been before. He believed there should be some changes, a renewal perhaps, to address the profound changes brought about the genocide. I looked at him and offered only words to comfort. Deep down, I empathized with his sentiments. He lacked enthusiasm and zeal to participate in church activities due to the horrific killings he had witnessed inside and outside the church premises.
Currently, 30 years have passed since the genocide against the Tutsi was stopped by the RPF Inkotanyi soldiers. Now there is hope of life. Despite the profound scars left by the genocide, Rwandans have embarked on a journey of reconstruction and development. For some survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi, returning to churches has played a pivotal role in their healing process.
ariko bwa mbere ntihigeze gutangira gahunda nziza yatangijwe na Kiliziya Gatolika.
Once in the Catholic Church, a program called Christian Morning began. My sisters were the first to attend, and upon their return, I overheard their discussions about it. Their conversation intrigued me, and I had the curiosity to hear more about what was being said. One of my sisters recounted that the preacher addressed the common question of where God was during the genocide and compared it to where God was when his own son was killed. This statement resonated with me deeply, prompting me to consider attending church myself. I felt that perhaps the church held answers to the multitude of questions rolling in my mind. And so, motivated by this curiosity and longing for understanding, I made the decision to return to church. On the other hand, there are individuals who continue to struggle with the lasting emotional trauma inflicted by the atrocities witnessed during the genocide against the Tutsi, particularly within churches and various locations across the country. For some, the trauma has led them to distance themselves from matters of religion altogether. Recognizing the profound impact of such experiences, religious leaders acknowledge the need to enhance teachings that facilitate healing.
Ubundi butumwa bwomora, ubutumwa bwunga.
We have the message of healing, reconciliation, and transformative change. However, we must reflect on why some people didn't change. It's disheartening to acknowledge the fact that some of the pastors, priests, and Christians were involved in the genocide. Before the genocide, statistics indicated that 91% of the population identified as Christians. It calls into question the effectiveness of the message being delivered within our religious institutions. This realization fills me with a mixture of sadness and anger. Despite these challenges, it's essential to recognize that the message of healing and reconciliation has yielded positive results. Many individuals who committed crimes have demonstrated remorse and sought forgiveness, often driven by a deep sense of faith. This underscores the potential for continued progress if we persist in delivering and embodying this transformative message.
In Rwanda, some churches have been changed to become genocide memorials due to the atrocities that occurred within their walls. Notable examples include the Ruhanga Church, the former Ntarama Church, a section of the Kibeho Church, and the Nyange Church, among others. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Oli, for that report. In Rwanda, multilingualism is much more than a simple linguistic reality. It is a fundamental pillar of society. The Rwanda population welcomes this linguistic diversity and fully recognizes the advantages it provides in their daily activities. Charlene with more.
In a country where commercial, cultural and diplomatic exchanges are taking place gradually, the mastery of several languages becomes an undeniable advantage. In Rwanda, this reality is fully integrated into educational and development policies, whereby multilingualism is far from being simply a linguistic tool but also a catalyst for progress and connectivity. Fifi Rurangwa, the regional director of Wakanao, says that multilingualism allows Rwandans to access a wide range of professional and academic opportunities, thus strengthening the country's competitiveness on the international stage.
I think multilingualism is something that is very important, not only for Rwandans but for the world. Anyone that can speak more than one language is already at an advantage over others. Why? Because you are open to discuss with other people, you are open to sign partnerships, understand, feel at ease anywhere you go. I think Rwanda is doing very well, introducing multiple languages in education is something that is going to open us to the world, considering that we are already a landlocked country. Speaking languages is going to make Rwanda be able to sign more partnerships, understand how others are working, and also help our children to look at many and various opportunities in the world.
Rwanda is undergoing new reforms in the education sector, where language learning is being reintegrated into all the levels of the education sector. Young students are delighted with this reform, from which they hope to benefit greatly.
Well, first of all, languages are mainly used in communication. So in schools, we need to learn languages to be able to communicate with people when we will start going outside to meet other people from different countries. Rwanda, it has been exposed to the trend of tourism, so there are many tourists that are coming in Rwanda recently. So it's good for the people in Rwanda to know many languages, to be able to communicate with the people who come in Rwanda who are not who don't know Kinyarwanda, to be able to communicate with them and tell them what Rwanda is really about.
Knowledge of languages goes far beyond the simple act of communicating. Indeed, it also allows us to establish relationships with other peers who do not share our mother tongue. When you meet someone who speaks English, French, Swahili, or any other language, and you are able to converse with that person, it strengthens your long-term cooperation and understanding. Education sector experts highlight that multilingualism and compulsory language learning in schools plays a crucial role in training younger generations and effectively preparing them for the business world. Today, Rwanda holds several international events as well as many entrepreneurs from all over the world. So, for the country to be able to welcome these people, learning languages is very important. The language training should not only be limited to schools, but also be extended to other people from different areas, such as transport, hotels, restaurants, commerce, and various other activities. People engaged in these sectors must have knowledge of languages to interact effectively with the foreigners. We are happy today to see that our government now supports language learning also in universities. Indeed, the students and young people we train today are the entrepreneurs and leaders of tomorrow. This is why we must redouble our efforts in language training to fully prosper. Although Rwandans shares the same mother tongue, Kinyarwanda, the introduction of multilingualism is very wise given the country's geographical position between English-speaking countries in East and French-speaking countries in Central Africa. This addition, Rwanda presents itself as a land of opportunities, with in particular its openness to the world, the ease of procedures to obtain visas for the countries of the African Union, the Commonwealth, and the French-speaking world. Charlene Furaha, RTV News.
Again, on behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team, we'd like to thank you very much for sticking with us on RTV News. My name is Martina Abera. Stay safe and have a great night.